What's up, everybody? It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's White House comedy drama, The Oval, Season 6, Episode 3, Grown Woman. Now, there was a few surprising scenes in this episode, which I didn't understand why these men were reacting this way because that's all I can say. I don't know why, but they were. But anyway, before we get started, please let's not forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, write a comment, and share the video. And let me just thank all of you, those of you who have subscribed to this channel. I appreciate your support, and I hope that you'll be with us for the entire year. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments. Tell me your 2 cents. You know what I mean? Anywho, this episode started off like the last one ended with the bedroom scene. Sam busted in there with the gun drawn, catching Nancy with a man. Dale comes in and hits him over the head with a lamp because he thought he was a burglar. Sam throws him down on the floor with his gun still pointed at him. Clarence takes that moment to grab a blanket and run out of the house and get away. While Nancy's yelling, Sam, what are you doing here? What are you doing? That's Dale. Get him up off the floor. I was like, oh my goodness. So he's saying to Nancy, this is not you. She said, you don't know me. You don't know me at all. And you know what? He doesn't. And she's like, you don't know what I've been going through. My son died. He wants a divorce. She said, you just let him know that this is no longer his house and that I am done, and I'm going to call that guy back and give me all that I've been missing and all this stuff. I was like, oh my. And he was like, okay, Nancy, you're drunk. Just sleep it off. So anyway, then he goes downstairs and he's talking to Dale. And he was like, asking Dale why he was there and how much did Nancy drink and who was that man, and Dale wouldn't answer, saying that you have to ask her. But Sam warned him that if Richard comes home and catches that guy, he's going to kill everyone in the house. And that's when Dale said, well, maybe I should take my chances out on the street tonight. Sam said, yeah, right. So Sam gives him his business card and tells him to call him if that man comes back. But we all know Dale ain't going to do that, thank God. Anyway, now we have this scene with Priscilla, and she has this standoff with Agent Isaac in the hallway of the residence. She's like kind of bossing him around. She's telling him to get those men ready, to leave. Those are the ones who are injured. And as she's about to walk past Agent Isaac, he grabbed her arm and pulled her back kind of like, and she's looking at him. And then they start going at each other. I'm like, Priscilla, what is going on? So Agent Isaac doesn't think it's a good idea. He thinks his men are going to get arrested. But Priscilla is talking to him like she's worked it out and that's not going to happen. But he's still not cool with it. So they go back and forth a little bit and he's like, are you threatening me? And she lets him know that she has Hunter's ear and he says, so do I. She said, but do you have a vagina? And I'm like, oh my gosh, she played the vagina card. Anyway, next, we see Victoria has Bobby in a room and she's smelling him and she can smell Simone's perfume on him. Now she wants to know what all the excitement is about Big Bobby. She said first Lily, then Priscilla, and now Simone. And then she asked him if he wants her. And she looked down and said, yeah, you do. And she called him a hoe and said all the women in the White House are hoes and they F whoever they want or something like that. She said it's something about power or whatever she was saying. I was like, girl, shut up. So then Bobby leaves out of that room and he meets back up with Max, who's still standing in the hallway. And he doesn't tell him what Victoria said. But Max lays into Bobby again with the I told you so. And you know what? I'm not even mad at him about it. I used to get mad at Max about it, but he needs to keep on Bobby because Bobby ain't going to never learn. So now Victoria comes back down the hall to go to the Oval, but then Priscilla comes as well. So Max goes inside to announce both ladies, and then Victoria asks Priscilla, well, how did it go? And Priscilla said, I will be briefing the president, ma'am. And then Victoria says to her, oh, so you and Bobby have been getting it in, huh? And she said, what would that mean to you? And she said, well, I thought you should know that he's been effing Donald's wife and Simone. And Priscilla just rolled her eyes and turned her head. And Priscilla asked Victoria, and who else are you effing? And she said, your husband, dear. Aren't you effing mine? And she's like, Victoria, please. So then Max comes out and says they could go in, but they both still going at each other. And so Max is like, they're waiting for you, ma'am. And she says, shut up, Max. And Priscilla looked at her and said, no, you shut up, Victoria. And she's about to go in on her. And then Donald came out and they all went into the Oval. And when they got into the Oval, who's standing there but Eli, Alan, and Kyle? So Priscilla tells them that she got Hunter to let some of the men go. And Donald wants to arrest them as soon as they leave out, despite that Priscilla promised they wouldn't get arrested. Then she said that she needs Hunter and them to trust her. And that's the only way it work. And Donald's like, I could do whatever I want to do. And Eli's like, no, she's right. She's right. And Donald did not like that, but he had to follow Eli's decision. So now Donald and Eli are alone. Donald is pouring him a drink, and Eli's telling him, I misjudged you. You really know your stuff and command this room like a boss. And he said, just remember who's on top. And Donald was like, that would be you. So he sits down, they have a drink, and he says, so, you and Kyle, huh? And Donald's like, I don't want to discuss it, sir. And he said, oh, come on. I know you've seen my approval ratings with the LGBTQ plus community. They call me Hot VP. He said, yes, sir, that trends sometimes. I thought that scene was funny. I don't think it was necessary, but it was funny. Meanwhile, upstairs in the residence, we see Agent Isaac and Jason. They go into Hunter's bedroom trying to convince him that Priscilla and the others are lying to him and that he shouldn't let his men leave. So Agent Isaac asks him, what is the end game? And Hunter said to get into the Oval. So Isaac leaves and Jason tells his father that he doesn't seem too bright. And Hunter says, I know. And then Jason asks why Sam and Isaac were fighting. So Hunter tells him. And then Jason tells him that he caught Sam sleeping with Mom. And Hunter says, yeah, I know. And he said, you know? And I'm sitting there going, but Jason, you know your father's been sleeping around with a lot of women. You killed one of them and beheaded them. So what's the difference? Why you feel you have to tell your father that? So anyway, Jason asks his dad if Sam is an ally of his, and he's like, I really don't know. He said, but Sam did take an oath to protect his office. He said, there's also that old saying, keep your friends close and keep your enemies even closer. And Hunter tells Jason, do not doubt me. He said, I'm smarter than the rest of them. And he probably is right. So anyway, as they're talking, Hunter finds out now that Jason didn't show the men all of the different White House tunnels. So he's a little annoyed at him about that. So then he tells Jason to go on to bed and get some rest. He says he gonna get rest himself, but first he gotta go in his bathroom, take a piss. And he gets out of bed and stood up just like that by himself and didn't even realize what he was doing. And they both looking at each other surprised. So now in another part of the White House, we have Priscilla walking into the kitchen and she tells Richard a little bit of what was going on. And then Priscilla tells him that she's going to go and check on Nancy. But he tells her he already sent Sam there. So she said, okay, then I'll check on her in the morning. He said, good. So she leaves and then Sam calls Richard and says Nancy is fine. And Richard tells him that Priscilla is okay as well. So Sam is telling Richard that he needs to go and talk to Priscilla. Where is she? And he said she's heading home, but he said it's not a good idea. He said, no, I think I need to. He said, no, it's not a good idea. We had a hectic day. Just let it be. And then Sam told Richard, well, you and Nancy need to talk too. And he's still pissed about this whole picky thing going on. And he's like, I'm not saying nothing to her. I ain't going to talk to her. I ain't this and that. And he said, good, because neither one of you need to talk right now until y'all cool down or something like that. He said, and he's like, what do you mean? Did she say something? Did she say something? Richard wanted to know if Nancy said something. You don't want to talk to her. So what do you care if she said something or not? And Sam was like, it's nothing. It's no big deal. She didn't say anything. He said, what are you not telling me, Sam? Sam was like, look, I got to go. And he basically hung up. So y'all, I was wrong. Barbie J was wrong. I said that Sam was going to drop dime and snitch like a little bitch, but Nancy, but he did. So I'm so proud of him. I guess he didn't tell Richie because he don't want his boy going to jail because he did warn Dale that he would kill everybody in the house. So anyway, now here's the big surprise. Oh my God, we actually have a Lily sighting. And I'm surprised about it because her face wasn't in the opening credits. So I don't know how they doing it, but that was that. Anyway, she's in the house and Donald calls her pretending that all is good between them, saying he going to be late. And she's like, I don't care. And he loves her too. And she's like, wait a minute. What straight man are you pretending for? See, she already know her husband, you know. And so she's like, look, Donald, I gotta go, whatever. So she hangs up. And then Victoria calls her to be messy, of course, we all know. So she tells Lily that Bobby is sleeping with Priscilla and Simone. And Lily says, so why are you telling me? And she says Bobby is a straight up F-boy and she better get herself checked. And Lily says, how is your husband? And she says, he's straight, but I bet you can't say the same thing. And so Victoria's enjoying, tormenting Lily. And then she asks about Bobby. And Lily says, I'm going to hang up on you now. And she said, don't say it, do it. And that's just what Lily did. And then Lily said to herself, I really want something bad to happen to her. And then she laughs. So now we have Eli calling Simone in front of Donald to tell her he's not coming home until the morning. And he's like talking to her, and she seems calm and understanding. And he's asking her how she got home, and she said, I took a ride share. And he said, oh, and she's like, dummy, I took the Secret Service. What's wrong with you? And he asked, which agent? And she said, I'm not doing this with you. And she said, I know you think it is Bobby, but it wasn't Bobby. You've already disrespected me earlier today, so I'm not in the mood. So she says she loves him, but he never says it back to her, and he hangs up. I said, what a jerk he is. And then at this same moment, Victoria tries to barge into the Oval Office with Max behind her. And Eli said, it's okay, just let her in. Then he said, I thought you went to bed. And she says, I want to show you something. And she pulls out her cell phone while Donald's sitting there and then turns around and asks, does he have to be here? So Eli asks Donald to step out for a moment, and Donald obliged. And Victoria shows Eli a video of Simone and Bobby entering and exiting a room and said they were in there about 45 minutes and that he smelled like Simone's perfume. So Eli was like, he drives her around all the time. That's to be expected. And he seems to be a bit annoyed with Victoria saying, we're in the middle of a crisis and you're pulling footage on my wife. And I said, She said, I just thought you needed to know. And he said, look, I got more important things to think about. So then Victoria asks if he has time for her as she rubs on his chest and everything. And he said, can you please not do that? And she was like taken aback. And he said, look, I need to focus. So she got her little feelings hurt and said, I'll be in the guest room if you need me. And then she said she was sorry. So she leaves and Eli gets upset and leaves the Oval looking for Bobby. So he asks Max, where's Bobby? He said he's on break. He said, where? He said he's in the break room. So he heads down the hallway and Max runs right behind him. And Donald and Alan were standing right there watching to see what was going on. So now Alan gets his orders from Donald and he leaves and he goes to his car in the parking garage. And Kyle walks over to him talking about he better not be saying anything to anyone about what is happening in the White House, because if he does, he will mangle his pretty little face. And Alan is like, really, dude? Get a freaking life. So Alan gets sick of him and tells him to lie down on the ground so he could drive over him as he leaves. I was like, if you don't do it, I'll do it for you. I want to drive over him too, Alan. Anyway, so the episode ends with Eli. He finds Bobby washing his shirt or something he's doing to that shirt. And Eli's like, you doing your laundry here? And Max goes, oh no, he spilled something on it or whatever. And they got Bobby, he just stands there looking dumb. Each time somebody asks him a question, he sits there looking like a dumb idiot. He really does, and I don't understand it. You're the one that's thinking with the wrong head, and then you don't know what to say when somebody confronts you about what you're doing. You told Max you had this handle, or talking about we have it handled, talking about him and his penis. But he really doesn't. So Eli tells Max to leave them alone. But Max said, no, that's not a good idea because we both are supposed to watch you or something like that. So Eli asks Bobby for the shirt and Bobby doesn't give it to him. And then he snatches it from him and he takes a good sniff and whiff of it. And he's like, so you are effing my wife. And it went off just like that. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. It was so to me. The surprising thing is the way that Eli's behaving when he's the one that's cheating on his wife. And then the way Richard was acting when he said he don't want to talk to Nancy or anything. And then all of a sudden he thinking Sam didn't tell him something. What did she say? Did she say something? You don't want to talk to her. So you don't want to answer her calls. So what do you care? What do you care? Anyway, put it down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode, y'all. Please. And I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.